Now we head to the garden stage here, where greenery is everywhere. Probably not natural in the middle of a desert. Their water bill has to be outrageous.
I mean, you know, you just got to go for the California green, which is brown, when we do have to outsource all of our water. And now, as we move on to this, it looks like we are going to get the Pharahs and the Widowmakers from both sides. It's mirrored compositions coming out, so we move on to Garden.
And this is Jaro back in his comfort zone, right, where he's not on a hit-scan Sombra, he's on a projectile hero, and that's where he really made his name known. And Facility had a great opportunity early on, gonna miss both shots going in, and suddenly you take a look at the Skyfoxes side, I do wonder what Retzi is looking at.
That was a huge opportunity for Facility. I mean, taking out either Hidan or Jer would have been great. The point is unlocked now. Facility is getting jumped on. He doesn't really have the backup of his team. The D.Va is there to try and peel for him. The point's unlocked, and it's Toronto Esports on here.
Meanwhile, Skyfoxes not able to get on the point where no one fell for them, but they were pushed off, and part of that is they weren't able to get an early pickoff. We've seen Retzi's done quite a bit of damage just on the ult charge he's gotten, but it has been enough to land a headshot. But there it is, finds Shu immediately, and look for the Skyfoxes go right back in. Facility, though, ends up getting Retzi on the other side. The depth is res back up, so it's not quite the advantage for the Skyfoxes that they thought they'd have. And now Facility in that one-on-one takes down Jaro with a quick flick.
And one of the biggest issues here, losing your Pharah like that, especially to the Widowmaker, DPS will be able to finish him off, but the Pharahs are very crucial to being able to burn down the tanks, get that huge burst damage off, and then allow your tanks to try and take them out. Without Jaro actually there, trying to burn down the tanks, they lost a lot of DPS in that fight, so Skyfoxes just were never able to capitalize off that initial pick onto Shu.
And Skyfoxes, I mean, it's unfortunate because it's one of those things where if you get the early pick off, you need to be ready to dive in right away. They weren't, and the opportunity went to the wayside, and now it's going to be on the other end where it's Hidan getting picked off early, and now they have to go, okay, Jur, can you get there and res him in time, or do you just want to save it? And they're going to save it.
I think they actually did try to go for the res. I might have heard the animation, and I think he was booped away by Nero there. And of course, you have to be within a certain range to try and get that resurrection off. Now, we do have the Infrasight coming up for Facility, who has been shutting down the opposite end. And the Skyfoxes already Toronto. They're at 72%, and they have 4 ultimates for this hold, and this might be the final fight.
Skyfoxes, they've just been so delayed in pushes where they haven't made Toronto use that ult economy even in least. But now we're heading on in, and Axiom off the flank forces out the Transcend from Hidan, but Retzi gets Cruz immediately. There's not going to be reses in this fight. Skyfoxes, and Retzi gets another! Takes down Axiom! Facility's going to fall on the other side, and Nero, nowhere to go as half his team is gone back to spawn. Gonna be Skyfoxes taking the point, but Toronto doesn't have much to go, and they still have all the ults available.
And that was, yeah, huge, right? Because you get rid of both of the support ultimates, and that's fine. Toronto, they don't need to commit any ultimates into that last fight. They're already at 99%. They've banked up 5 ultimates. They really don't need Facility's recon site at all. So coming into this next fight, Skyfoxes are so behind it.
Yeah, I mean, for Skyfoxes here, what you have to hope for is that Retzi gets an early pick off. That would be a good one right there. Doesn't get it. That was a headshot you need to get, but gets Cruz! That's big. Now for Toronto, do you really want to go in with Cruz out of it? Well, absolutely not, especially when Jaro got you on the flank.
Yeah, that's going to delay them even further, and Skyfox is going to give them necessary room here. Nero will get taken out as Retzi connects with another shot onto Shu. So right now, Facility having a difficult time so far as Jaro has just been playing that pest in the back line with that Tracer. No longer on that Pharah. We'll see Skyfoxes. They're still trying to buy time for these support ultimates to come up, but they are so far behind right now, 40% and 32% respectively.
The problem is that they're delaying Toronto very well, but they're not actually taking any damage. The supports aren't able to build up any ults at all. I mean, bravo the Red Sea is doing what he needs to do, but we see Active gonna go for the knockoff here, sends D.Va away. Oh, he's not able to get back in. Guru's out of immediately, and now Toronto's gonna flood into the point. All ults are on deck. Nero takes down 2. No barrage required.
That was just a great flanking play coming out from Axiom here as the barrage is used to finish them all off. Now they do have Jaro trying his best to keep this point alive, but he's out of blinks and he's out of time. As the point flips, overtime will tick away, but they might be able to get the D.Va onto the point. Boosters on.
Guru gets back on, gonna drop the self-destruct, not gonna have any chance of remeching. Self-destruct not gonna grab anything. It's just pure delay, but with both tanks and a Mercy out of it, Skyfoxes, they're not gonna be able to delay this for much longer, and the round will go the way of Toronto. Definitely worth noting there, though, that Skyfoxes came alive towards the end. They just had a weird moment in the middle where they weren't getting good fights because of the early pickoffs.
It wasn't just the middle, though. It was also at the beginning. Now, we started off on, of course, Facility's point of view, and he missed his shots. But, you know, that's still actually, you know, giving the warning over to the Skyfoxes, you can't leave your flanks just unattended. And so they played very tentatively, did the Skyfoxes. I mean, you saw as the point unlocked, Toronto just absolutely got it free, and then they won the team fight afterwards, while Skyfoxes were just kind of like middling about in over by the Mega Health Pack and did absolutely nothing.
All right, well, we're going to the university, and Toronto's going to be a bit tankier than normal here, where they're going to be running with the triple tank, a Shu on the Roadhog. Meanwhile, Skyfox is going to be running with a Hanzo McCree setup, so we'll see if Retzi can go to his old norm and click on some heads here. But Nero, for now, just going to be laying in the damage on the Pharah on the top.
The important part is that the Skyfoxes are posturing out here in the middle, so he will have that line of sight onto the Pharah. Nero has to be careful, but because they don't have, of course, the Zenyatta for Toronto Esports, Facility is not going to be able to connect with a lot of shots, but never mind, there it is. Shu takes out Jaru. Great hook coming in.
Yeah, I mean, Jaru just was in on Shu's face one-on-one, and that's not great for Hanzo when he has no cover from the hook. But the Skyfox is on the other end. Punish Facility. He's going to get brought back up, but it's definitely not a settled matter here. Toronto has actually bled a little bit more as the Skyfoxes get good control, get the first part, and we got Cowboy duel here on the right. Retzi versus Facility, and both Cowboys are gone.
Jaru, of course, he has been grinding away on this Hanzo, and this is what I've been looking forward to. I want to see more of his Hanzo, especially at the higher tiers of competitive Overwatch now. So Skyfoxes this time will take the point first. They've got some great ultimates behind it. Retzi, he's going to be able to sit far back with that McCree. He's got the Deadeye ready. So Toronto Esports have to be careful on their approach on in.
Now, we do have the swap up here where we're going to be seeing the Hanzo come out from Toronto. Toronto's still only running solo support. They don't have Transcendence, which means that Skyfoxes are going to open with the Valkyrie here, but they can decide to dive on him with the Transcendence. There's not going to be much of a response from Toronto. However, Facility's down. They need to get on the point. You don't want to give it up for free, and they're going to do just that. They're going to walk their way in, and it's good damage coming out from Retzi on the side. It means that Skyfoxes don't actually have to burn those ultimates just yet, and Hedan gets to save the Transcendence.
Yeah, Skyfoxes just have so much more sustain than the Toronto Esports do. Every time Guardian tries to step forward, because it's difficult for Cruz to try and match his pace and stay up there in the front lines as that Mercy, Guardian just falls so quickly, and you need this Diva. So we have a lot of compositional changes coming out from Toronto Esports. They're going for the GOATS comp.
Yep, this is, I think you said the other day, when in doubt, GOATS it out is what Toronto's going to be trying to go for here. And of course, once you go to GOATS comp, what you're looking for is just to dive into the team with Reckless Abandon. Toronto, the setup on the right, but they're going to loop around, let Axiom lead the way. They don't connect on the hook, and the Skyfoxes now are looping around, trying to keep one person on the point, and there's the Dragon that gets rid of the Brigitte, big core of this GOATS comp. That means Toronto has to back out, but they don't really have time.
Yeah, Jaru finds a second pick onto Axiom here. Now Toronto Esports, they are falling one by one. 93% as the Deadeye comes out from Retzi. He's just zoning them. They might have an opportunity as the Diva is on the low ground. Guardian boosts on in, but he's got no health behind that.
Saddest Diva times right there, where you got to sacrifice your mech for the team. Overtime, tick on down. Can they even touch it one more time? And no, it's going to be Guru playing goalie there. Getting a little bit of World Cup action in there.
In that last
it's just
fight.
a little bit of goaltending.
Oh yeah, no, the booster was actually important there because he does bop them back and they're not able to touch the point at all. The zoning Deadeye came out a little bit too early, but still, doesn't matter. As the end result is that the Skyfoxes did tie it up. Now, Toronto, they did try to go for the GOATS comp, but you know, Skyfoxes, they played around it expertly. You saw them just kite away. Everyone went to the high ground. The Diva stayed in the middle there to try and bait them to like engage upon him, but of course he had the booster, so he gets away. They try to change targets over to the Orisa, but the halt slows them down and then puts them in the middle of that Dragon Strike. Now, as we move on to City Center, we're gonna have the Widowmakers coming out from both sides once again.
Yeah, and I would just say for the GOATS comp, I mean, the GOATS comp is very simple. You're looking for that barnyard brawl on the point, and Skyfox just said, no, we're not gonna take this. We're gonna rotate around, drop the Dragon, and see ya. But now we go over and we get to see the Widow v Widow action here. Retzi versus Facility going to the skies, and he was vulnerable for a second. Facility wasn't quite ready to punish, and Retzi, for now, his main focus is dealing with that other Widow.
It's so difficult to try and play a Widow on this map because there are so many angles that you have to be careful of. Jaru! Oh, goes too far in. He did not expect Nero to be there to help that Winston out, but Retzi will go ahead and even that up.
Retzi getting rid of the Widow competition. Now, Facility might be brought back up here, but for now, didn't have to worry about it. The res is used, goes for Facility, had an opportunity, and Facility says, nope, not even gonna take this. So Retzi still moving around to the right side, keeping Widow in his sights if he can find it. Facility actually just not participating at all. In Toronto, they're gonna lose Axiom early on. The res isn't quite back up yet, so this is an opportunity here as Shu falls.
Yeah, Retzi really coming alive now. He's almost got the infra sight. He's been doing so much damage. Taking out Shu was vastly important. Now, Mercy versus Widow. We've seen this battle, but generally the Mercy has the force. Oh.
He didn't even care. He's like, yeah, you're not even worth my time. You're not even that threatening. I'm just gonna turn the corner and shoot Retzi right in the head. Retzi with some good game sense there, getting rid of the key threat, forcing Cruz to burn the res on the other side. And now they're going to invest in Transcendence here. Skyfoxes did go a little bit deep. They've lost Retzi, they lost 2 people, but they're going to invest Ultimates to delay as long as possible while they're trying to get control, where they never quite got full control.
Yeah, this is City Center, so you never, ever call the end of a fight until all 6 members are dead. They are slowly getting there. Axiom has just fallen, and now Jaru's on the hunt with the help, of course. The Mercy and the Zenyatta will take out Facility, clean up this Diva, get the D-Mech, but she is going to be able to delay a little bit longer. Finally, the Skyfoxes almost able to get it, but there's a Tracer on the point.
All right, Skyfoxes flip it back the other way, and because both teams are running Tracers, it does mean that trying to take things back, where, you know, you're not seeing the tankier comps of CNC, so you're seeing these comps with more mobility. It means that it's hard to actually get everyone off the point for a clean take.
Yeah, they abuse the gazebo. You see what a lot of Winstons and Divas do. Oh, self-destruct coming in, but it's not in time to cover that res or punish Jer at all.
That's what they were going for there, but yeah, just a little bit too late. They're able to get out of the blast zone. Hedan under pressure, knocked back and down. Axiom using the Primal Rage to finish it off. Meanwhile, Facility on targets on their side, takes out Guru, and Toronto getting right back in on the point, and Skyfox has lost that so decisively that they're not going to be able to delay here much at all.
Yeah, Retzi gets 1 kill onto Nero, but that's not enough. It's just a Tracer. She's going to be back into this fight anyhow, and so it is brought back in Toronto's favor. They're at 70%. Skyfox is only getting 39 here. Nero does have the Pulse Bomb, and Toronto, they're coming up on both support ultimates. Well, right now, Skyfoxes are trailing behind, of course, with that Valkyrie, so that might be the big crucial difference here.
Yeah, I mean, the problem for the Skyfox is that this is going to go to overtime no matter what. They're not going to be able to get Toronto fully off the point at 15%. Getting people off the point is pretty darn difficult here. But we see both teams posturing in the moment. Jaru focusing on tanks, trying to follow up on the Discord Orb. And we're going to see the early Transcend come out here from Toronto. But Facility's already out of the fight, and you see Retzi going on the other side, looking to try and finish that kill. Doesn't quite do it, but now both Transcendents have been used. Skyfoxes are in a moment of advantage. DPS bopping things around, but not quite enough. Shu lives for long enough to get DPS out of the fight, as Toronto is still a man up.
Yeah, Nero and Jaru trying to do the best for their teams with this Tracer, but it's Jaru coming out on top, burning down Axiom here as overtime is starting to tick away. Skyfoxes, they had the better sustain because they did end up getting that Valkyrie in time for Jer now, but still, it is so difficult to clean up members here. It might be another 6v6 as overtime is still ticking away.
Jaru's still on the point, Guru's still on the point, Skyfox reinforcements coming back in, Jer's out, but it doesn't matter because Jaru and DPS dive in deep, and Retzi takes down 2. The Foxes still very much in this fight. Now we could be looking at 99-99. Oh!
There we go. Shu was able to take out Retzi, and I don't know if they have the resurrection available here, but they should be able to reinforce in time. Skyfoxes just need to kite away and not take an engagement too early here. Need to wait a few more seconds for Retzi to get back.
All right, well, Retzi definitely on the way back right now. Wasn't able to get rezzed into the action. So you're right, they're gonna hold back a little bit, but you can do that in City Center. It takes a while to come back in. Retzi's gonna be back in the fight now. Meanwhile, you look to Facility. He's going around the left flank, looking for any free target, almost gets it there. And with Retzi out of the fight, this is a nice advantage for Toronto. They have to dive in a little bit deeper now, but Facility is being very measured on how he's looking for picks, even with Retzi not a threat.
Axiom dropped low, but he was able to survive throughout this, so now Toronto Esports still have the man advantage here. Hedan dropping low now, but they almost have the Valkyrie. Never mind, Hedan is not going to survive long enough for that. Toronto just storming onto the Skyfoxes now.
Yeah, Facility cleaning up the last little bits of it. Down goes Retzi, and overtime, that's going to tick away. Toronto Esports taking map 1, but the Skyfoxes making this look awfully close here. And hang on, there's one extra person that was waiting, so this would be ridiculous if they actually brought it back. Stealth Jaru but all he might be doing here is leading his entire team to the slaughter one more time. But it even had Toronto fooled. Toronto didn't even realize he was back there.
Yeah, this is a tricky Tracer coming in. Now they're trying their best to delay here, but DPS, even with the Primal Rage, gets burned down so quickly here. Toronto Esports, just a few more shots. Baby D.Va trying her best to AD, but she will fall, and that's Toronto Esports taking the first map in this series.
One of those things where I kind of feel like one of those football commentators where they're looking at the trick play that's so good that even the cameramen are fooled. They're just like, what's going on right now? It's like, actually, the ball's back over here. It's like Retsy's actually crouching in a corner. Well,
that was a pretty scrappy fight, if I do say so myself. I was expecting a wipe from what you guys were saying, but it was pretty even there.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, this is, I said it kind of in the preamble that I think Skyfoxes could take as many as 2 maps, and Retsy's a really good player. I can't...
That's an understatement.
Yeah, I can't overemphasize that enough. He's very, very good. His team didn't do him really justice in the last season, and I'm glad he has another shot now.
Yeah, Retsy and Jaru definitely just really syncing up with the team quite well, and especially as a DPS duo. Jaru had some great moments on the Tracer, but it just wasn't enough. And he goes back to this, and like he was able to get, I believe, 4 eliminations in this particular team fight where Skyfoxes finally flipped the point.
Yeah, and we're also seeing a little bit of Jaru's evolution of a player where Jaru in the beginning was known much more for his projectile gameplay, but now what we're seeing for Jaru is that because he spent such a long time doing hit scan stuff last season, he does have a little bit more versatility where you go to Jaru and you go, actually would like to run double hit scan, and Jaru can be like, yeah, okay, I can do that. And his Tracer was doing quite a bit of work there.
What do you think we're going to need to see from Skyfoxes to really just push the level a little bit more and maybe win map?
I think they need to be a bit more decisive in a lot of their fights. I mean, we saw at the beginning of this map when we were on Garden that they just kind of like middled about there and they didn't take any action. All the initiative were on Toronto's side, and Toronto took advantage of that. Skyfoxes, when they had the initiative, they looked much better than they did on the other 2 maps, and I'm talking about University.
Yeah, and I'd also say for Skyfoxes, I mean, play to your strengths, right? Where the reason why they did so well in University is that you did have that McCree mirror for a while, and Retsy was simply outplaying Visibility on the McCree side of things, where he was getting far more damage in. When it was head-to-head, he was challenging Visibility all the way, and I mean, that is a situation where anytime you can play to a hero like McCree and actually have a player that plays it well, which most teams really can't say, it's a hero that's kind of feast or famine, it's always good when you can flex on that, so I'd actually kind of like to see more of that from Skyfoxes.
So what you're saying is you just want a bunch of McCree shooting at each other always on every map. I agree with you.
Yes. I think you should always pick McCree. Even if you have 2 DPS on your team, pick a 3rd DPS in McCree. It doesn't matter if it makes sense.
All right, well, our next map that we're going to be seeing is King's Row, and now I'm just going to be saying I want to see McCree on every map. I don't care if it makes sense. I don't care if it's helpful. I just want more Cowboy all the time.
Now, King's Row is actually pretty interesting here because we know that, you know, Widowmakers are a huge favorite, especially on point A. And with the way both Widowmakers were playing, it goes back and forth. So, the difference maker is going to come down to, like, the Hanzo. So, Jaru, we'll see if he can actually tip it in the favor of the Skyfoxes.
One thing that really strikes out to me is that, just thinking about Retsy historically, is that, I don't know why, but Retsy has been a part of more King's Row first holds than I could think of in any other player. So, I wonder if some of that magic is going to be sort of sprinkled into this game for the Skyfoxes.
I like the sound of magic. Well, let's see if any magic will happen in the King's Row map.
Now that I said that, you know that when they're the defense are going to lose, like, immediately, like, really badly.
All right, so they have actually made a swap off from Toronto. They're going to go back to, of course, their just standard DPS duo, and Nero and Dalton. Visibility is out. Taking a look at the Skyfoxes, this is a look that I was considering. Jaru going over to the Genji, while Retsy will, of course, stay on that Widowmaker. He did have a good performance on Oasis with it.
Yeah, I'm still wondering what the logic is between Toronto and their swaps between Visibility and Dalton. I mean, it could just be that they're just trying to see who's better between the two, get them both reps, but it's not as clear as it is for other teams where, you know, for example, you think of a player like Shadows, where they bring him in specifically for Widow maps, but otherwise they would go to, like, Zaxel on Tracer or something along those lines. So it just seems like Toronto's like going, we'll try them out different maps.
Mysteries abound. The defense coming out from Toronto Esports, they're going to go with the Orisa D.Va. Very defensive, try to set up Nero and Dalton for success, and that's what you really need to do. You just put your eggs in the Nero and Dalton basket, and oftentimes it pays off for Toronto Esports. We'll see if the dive can work out for the Skyfoxes, but Dalton already connecting with the shots.
Well, those eggs are intact right now, but if you're a Skyfox, you want to make some omelets right now. You do that by breaking eggs. So we're going to see what Retzi does here on the right side, looking for opportunities in the Widow. But of course, Axiom on the Orisa shield going to be limiting some of those chances unless they can force people a bit out of position, which is what Joe's trying to do right now. As a dive goes in, Skyfoxes going to look for their opportunity here, but they're pushed on back. They lose their D.Va mech immediately. But Joe doesn't care, he's still diving in.
Yep, that's some good trigger discipline coming out from Nero there. Don't shoot at the deflecting Genji. We all know how that works out, ZP.
Yeah, you don't want another sugar-free moment, even when you're not against sugar-free. But Axiom was isolated here, so this is going to open up Retzi to have way more room on the Widowmaker. And there it is, gets Dalton right away before Axiom's back in the fight. Skyfox is diving in, DPS charging in, and I'm not talking about the DPS players, I'm talking about the player. DPS found a good moment as Winston, and ends up with 3 before it's all said and done.
That was just full metal Retzi in there, going guns blazing. I mean, you saw even with the trajectory of his grappling hook, because they did have the man advantage, taking out that Orisa, he was just confident, and that's what you really need to do. Just rely upon the confidence of your team. Keep that initiative, keep up the tempo up against Toronto Esports here. Now, as we move on to the second phase, the Streets phase of King's Row here, Skyfoxes, they got a lot of time in their bank, 4 minutes and 55 seconds, and a lot of ultimates. Jaro coming in with the blade!
And immediately denied! No Transcendence required. Shu was about to have the Transcendence up, but you don't need it when you team up with Dalton, take him down immediately. Now, Riptire's invested just to be sure, but the momentum that the Skyfoxes were about to have, it's gone, and that means we go to another Shimada and Hanzo.
The Hanzo pick is the right pick here as we move on to Streets phase. It was just so unfortunate for Charu as he tries to go in for that blade. Well, there's a Junkrat trap, you're trapped and everyone just takes you out.
Yeah, and that's just, it's not a good time there, but hey, it wasn't Brigitte, so, you know, small victories. You didn't get stunned by a shield. Meanwhile, a little bit of tracer pressure on the top, and whoa, that was a weird self-destruct coming up there. But Jaru gets Axiom, who's a little bit far forward. Toronto got a bit cheeky, and now they might get punished as Retzi. Lots of room to work with, but it's Shu who forces him back.
Now Nero does take out Retzi ultimately and finds a second kill onto DPS, and even though they're able to res Retzi back into this, it's Toronto Esports that really do take advantage of that lull in the healing and will take out Hidan.
That was really Retzi's moment. Retzi had 2 uncontested shots there that he could have taken to take down 2 people. Doesn't hit the shot, is forced back by the Zen, and then runs into a random Junkrat grenade. Tough times for Retzi. Here comes another tire where Nero's just gonna go, yeah, gotta lay this in, look for a stagger here. There might be a dragon coming in, I don't care. 4 seconds left in the tire, diving on down. Did it get the D-Mech? No, it did not.
Nero was really lucky there because the dragon did come in from Jaro and missed him by like 3 degrees, just a few inches there. While he was, of course, caught in that animation. But nothing coming of it now. Skyfox is definitely slowed down. 2 minutes burned off their clock, and they haven't been able to push through this choke point quite yet. Toronto Esports, they're the ones that are keeping up the tempo here on their dives.
Oh, stick to the back, takes down both supports. Just adding on to Toronto's suffocating defense here, where they've lived in some of these attacks by a margin of 1 player, but for now, it might as well be a brick wall to Skyfoxes, and they're going to be swapping things up. Retzi now going to the Brigitte.
They do need to control the dive, and it's been Toronto Esports that have taken the complete initiative since we got into the second phase here. So they need to be able to slow them down, control the team fight, because Toronto Esports, they have been unrelenting in this pressure now. Now, they do see the swap off. They're not going to overcommit here. It's just going to be rotates in between Axiom and Guardian contesting the high ground.
DPS gonna pop the Primal Rage early. Skyfox is desperately trying to break out of their man-made cage. Jaru holding back Storm Arrow, self-destruct the other way, makes the Skyfoxes have a bit of pause. But you look at Axiom, no one to really help him here. I think he was hoping the self-destruct would do a little bit more, but he's out, he's not resable, and the Skyfoxes, well, they had a 6v5, but he didn't get picked. Dalton was still able to find a way through, and Cruz, he went for the res deep into the back line.
He actually got it off here. So with Shu getting the D-Mech onto Guru, there's a moment for Toronto Esports here, but DPS taking out Nero. That is so much damage there. Skyfoxes will be able to push forward with this payload. DPS has to be careful, drops very low, but no, overextensions coming out from the Skyfoxes.
Yeah, they weren't really paying attention to the 3rd DPS player. Shu took down another 2. This is an absolute brawl right now, but the trade-out starting to go back the other way to the Skyfoxes. My goodness, I was just going left, right, and center. But when the smoke is settled, it's a minute 20 left for the Skyfoxes. Plenty of time to get this in the point B.
1 minute and 15 seconds now as the Skyfoxes are nearing that checkpoint, but it looks like they are going to go for that contest. Axiom is getting ready to jump on in.
Axiom, do you really want to do this here? I mean, he might be able to, and no,
he got whiplashed back.
Also, I think if they went in, it's probably good for them if they did, because I think he would have gotten bursted down. Shu wouldn't have gone to him in time, and Toronto might have wasted the Transcendence, but that's a very aggro self-destruct from Guru. Doesn't quite get anything.
Yeah, I think he was going for the Poke Bomb there, but the rally will be used by the Skyfoxes here as they want to go for this next engage. Dragon Strike comes on out. It's going to take some damage off the tanks as the dive continues. Now Skyfoxes is Retzi taking out his counterpart Nero.
We are dealing with chaos right now. Both teams down a player. Axiom going to Primal Rage to the other end. Looking for support to the back. Sends Zenyatta with a new way to float and forces Heat and the Transcend. Meanwhile, Nero's going to come back into the fight. Toronto spread to the 7 wins right now. Both Shu on the flank, getting Retzi. That's going to be a little bit better. D-Mech is in, and I think Skyfoxes need to reset with their minute 44 here.
Oof, the res use bring Retzi back in. He's not able to make it out alive, and so that's going to stagger them even further as Dalton connects with the shot. Now, Skyfoxes starting to run out of time. A minute 30 seconds left on the clock. They're going to make some compositional changes as DPS and Guru go over for the Bash Brothers in the Ryan and Zarya.
The problem is that with only a minute 30 left, it's questionable if they will get a Shatter and grab up. It's possible, but it's not super likely, especially going to a fight here where Toronto's going to be pretty favored.
Now, Guru doesn't have too many things getting in the way of him trying to build up that ultimate because really there's only that Winston barrier, but the Transcendence is popped by Toronto Esports as they want to keep up the momentum here, keep the pace up against the Skyfoxes.
And they're buying so much time right now where they didn't have to invest anything too much there. They did use a Transcendence though, so they don't get any pickoffs. It was Skyfoxes retreating back, but they still have ults to rely on. They still have an edge. They're going to open things up with the self-destruct, and Guru falling to Shu, who's been dead on accurate with these secondary fire of strikes from the back. But now the Skyfoxes engage. They drop a dragon, but it's the other end. It's a dragon from Dalton that takes down 3 on the other side. Mercy boosted and all. Skyfoxes now down to their final 30 seconds. They have no more mulligans.
And Guru just wasn't able to build up enough. He was on good pace. The first 30 seconds that he was on, the first 20 seconds or so that he was on the Zarya, he built up 30, but in that last few engagements, he wasn't able to do anything at all. So now he's only sitting at 50. It doesn't look like he's gonna get it, but DPS does have that Earth Shatter. That can be the ground-breaking thing, but Dalton takes out Retzi.
Just Skyfox has been getting pick after pick against them. Shatter comes in, knocks down 3. Here we go. The Skyfox is back the other way. They're going to clean up what DPS begins. And now they have a good setup here where it's in overtime, but they have a will and a way as they keep this moving forward, and Jaro can use his Dragon Strike to make some room.
This also just gives them valuable distance here. That's another 20, 30 meters now put on the line. Retzi, he's got the tire here. He's gonna be able to use it to zone it out as Hedon already took out Dalton.
Yeah, and they use it to immediately D-Mech Guardian. Guardian not gonna be able to delay as much as one. Axiom having to sacrifice his body, but there's the finishing Dragon in over the top, just covering the payload. And now the Skyfoxes just need a little bit more. They need to finish off Axiom back, although Axiom's on the payload. Axiom's like, wait, I need to go back to my people. However, he bought time. Respawns are coming back in. Skyfox is now starting to bleed, and Toronto only needs a little bit more to hold them off, but there it is. Final Graviton coming in. But this has been too many trades for the Skyfoxes. Toronto's gonna get to wash back over the payload, and the Fox is actually gonna get stopped here before finishing things out.
I think Jer might have been trying to go for a resurrect there, but got out of the animation distance of it. And so that entire time he was going for it, he wasn't healing up Guru, who was a high charge Zarya. Could have been a difference maker there, especially going up against that Diva. But at least, you know, the Skyfoxes were able to push it much further than where they were almost stopped there off the back of a huge Earth Shatter coming out from DPS. And that's what happens when you run a Ryan up against, of course, a Winston. Once that barrier is gone, you just charge forward and you press that Q.
Yeah, I mean, there's really nowhere to go there aside from to the ground and maybe a kiss it on the way there. But the problem is for the Skyfox is that if this were Dorado, I'd be like, yeah, you're in good shape. You got it almost to the very end. You're fine. It's not Dorado, it's Kings Row. Teams usually finish out Kings Row, so Skyfoxes are going to need a ridiculous defense that really just grinds away a lot of time before Toronto even gets to point C. if they want to have any hope of actually bringing this back. That means that for point A, they need to delay for at least, I would say, 2 minutes. And then for point B, they need to grab another 3 minutes off the clock and leave Toronto with only about 2 minutes for point C. Then it's defensible, but if Toronto gets a point C with 4 or 5 minutes left in the time bank, it's probably over.
Yeah, and really to emphasize that, I mean, it's not uncommon at all for teams to finish off this map with 2-3 minutes on the clock. So Skyfoxes, they've got a monstrous hold. They need to put up a monstrous hold here up against Toronto Esports, but taking a look at the offense right now, this might be a really good composition up against what the Skyfoxes currently are running. They're going for that Widowmaker along with Junkrat composition that a lot of defenses are prone to running, of course, with the Orisa and the D.Va. Now, the big difficulty of trying to run this kind of defense is that once DPS is forced onto the low ground, that's where Toronto can really punish that Orisa.
I think what you're going to need here more than anything else is that the Orisa is going to be giving cover for Retzi against Dalton's pressure. Retzi needs to get pickoffs here early and often to buy that time that the Skyfoxes need.
And it's going to be difficult too, right? You have, of course, the Reinhardt shield along with the D.Va defense matrix to really block out a lot of this damage. So Jaru only sitting at 12%, even though there's 3 tanks on board for Toronto Esports. Hook comes in, he does connect, but they're not able to follow up with the damage because of the defense matrix.
The funny thing is that they weren't contesting the point. They could have gotten a little bit more progress there if he held off on the hook. Retzi, though, under pressure on the opposite side. Shu is checking him right now, and the hook in the Jaru means that Retzi, if he doesn't get pickups, there's not going to be any other hope for the Skyfoxes here. And guess what? Hope is going quickly away. Narrow beasting it out on the point. One good hook after another, and Toronto easily takes point A. This is the exact opposite of what the Foxes needed.
Yeah, this is the big worry that you actually had for the Skyfoxes. If they're not able to hold on to point A, it becomes that much harder to try and, stop the momentum moving on to the streets phase here. Toronto Esports, they've almost got an Earth Shatter. They're at 70%. Nero's connecting on all of his hooks so far. Axiom with a great charge off the back of that onto DPS, and so DPS is staggered even further from trying to contest Axiom.
And Skyfoxes, now they have to hold here on second for, I'd say, about another 4 minutes, and that is easier said than done. They're going to need to have a very good Transcendence engage here via Heat End if they want to have a hope of taking the next fight.
It's going to be difficult, right? Because even if they do try to just run up onto them, Nero can go ahead and press his Q, use that whole hog, and just force them back. They don't have to take engagements. They have all the control in the world here.
Toronto, and you take a look at Axiom, right? Axiom's just going to move forward, drop the hammer, takes down one immediately, but they're not able to finish off what they started. But DPS fell on the other side, so Skyfox is still down a main tank. They're down their off tank. No one's left here to actually hold on the point, and all that about needing to burn time off the clock. Skyfoxes, they have not succeeded in that, and this should be Toronto easily moving to the second point.
It's really off the back of Nero's Roadhog play right now. His timing with the hooks is impeccable. Every time DPS drops it, he connects, once again goes down as he got hooked in by Nero. So now 5 minutes and 40 seconds. This payload has not been stopped once.
And don't forget that this isn't okay, we go to extra rounds. This is, if we get to the golden box victory, that's it. Skyfoxes did not complete the map. Now they have to hold for 5.5 minutes.
No.
Nero's so deep right now. How can you let someone be so deep in your own territory? Nero off of that. Meanwhile, Axiom, under a bit of pressure here, gets covered by the Dragon. Able to back out just a little bit more. And meanwhile, keep a look here. Shu hasn't used Transcendence yet. He's going to use it to neutralize the Dragon Strike coming in. And Toronto adds in the self-destruct. They get Hedan, and they're not getting removed at all.
DPS almost took out Axiom. Guru will, but the res is there to bring him back into this. And so now Skyfoxes are trying to fight back, but they are still losing members as Nero got brought back into this. And now he's going to push forward with the whole hog. Hedan gets one consolation kill onto Guardian, but will that be enough? They might have bought time, but Dalton!
Dueling dragons on the payload, but Dalton's gets far more. I don't know if the Skyfoxes can even remember the last time they fought with a 6v6, and they're not going to get time to remember. Toronto finishes it off, and they basically just speed ran all over the Foxes.
That was brutal. Oh my goodness. I can't imagine being hooked at your spawn and getting shot in the face. That hurt my soul.
I mean, it also hurt the Hanzo there. Like, it hurt me more. I actually died.
That's true, that's true.
The problem with there is that, I mean, I said mid-cast, but how many times did the Skyfoxes truly fight as 6 there? Someone was always getting picked off.
And it was primarily due to Nero. He was playing that flanking style Roadhog, the one who just does whatever he wants. I mean, we saw he ran up to the spawn door to get that Hanzo, and he created so many moments, especially for Axiom. Axiom on the Reinhardt just was able to succeed in that main tank role where he got to do anything he wanted while DPS was getting absolutely controlled that entire time. There was a moment where Axiom, he builds up his Earth Shatter, he uses it, DPS is already swapped off, and he's not able to build up his Earth Shatter at all because he's constantly dying. And so by the time that Axiom gets his second Earth Shatter, that's when DPS finally gets his first. It was nuts.
God, that was absolutely nuts. What, if anything, could Skyfoxes have done to prevent such a speed run of King's Row?
Stop peeking. Also, take some time to regroup. Like, you don't have to be losing 1 to 2 people before every fight. You can't have a moment where you're just like, look, let us slow things way down, make sure we have a full 6, because they really didn't, after the very beginning, they really never had a true team fight there. It was just one person after another getting picked off, and I mean, Nero was public enemy #1. It's not like Roadhog is a stealthy character.
You hear him coming.
Yeah, you kind of know where he is. He's pretty loud. He has a pretty large silhouette. Yeah, I mean, maybe pay more attention to Nero and focus him down at some point.
Nero was actually very sneaky, I would say, because immediately after they capture point A, he goes immediately for that proxy. So DPS, he thinks he's safe, but he's caught out in the corner there. It was just immaculate play coming out from him. Both his timing, his flanking, everything was fantastic.
Look, there's an old saying, it's like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. It was shame on me by like the 7th time there for Nero. It was shame on your entire family by the 7th time, if we're being honest.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break, but for more family shaming and sneaky Roadhogs, stick around for more Overwatch.